Now, continuing our leaders' interviews in advance of the general election on Friday week, we're joined in studio by Peadar Tóibín of Aontú, outgoing TD for Meath West. You're very welcome. Thanks indeed for joining us on 6-1. Your manifesto has been published tomorrow, so we can't go into any great detail on it. But just to get a flavour, one of the big themes in this election campaign is the balance between possible tax cuts or investment in public services. Where's Aontú coming down on that?
Yeah, so first of all, I will say we're not a party of auction politics. It's not about, I see you, you're a billion and I raise it another. We are a party about actually reforming a lot of the Irish economy at the moment. We do want to see a tax relief in terms of the USC. So over 5 years, we want to see USC disappear for incomes below €50,000, which would cost about €1.9 billion to implement. And that would be a tax relief that would actually help the people on the lowest and middle incomes, but it would also help people on higher incomes as well. We want to actually see a second additional child benefit. So obviously we're going to leave the child benefit as it is, but we do need to focus on about the 100,000 children in this country who are in poverty, and we need that to focus in relation to those families as well. But I will say one of our big issues here is the issue of accountability and making sure we don't waste as much money as the government is wasting at the moment. So we want to see a junior minister with the responsibility of actually stopping waste from procurement right up to completion of projects. And that junior minister will be located in the department of the Taoiseach, reports to the Taoiseach on a weekly basis, and make sure that the Taoiseach is on the hook for any waste that happens in this country in future.
Could be a job for you if you're in a coalition.
Well, possibly, but I will say that I do think that the current Taoiseach has serious questions to answer over the issue of accountability, and even just not being able to answer questions about who signed the contract for the children's hospital is a major problem.
We will deal with those questions when we talk to Simon Harris. But let's focus on Aontú. One of the issues that you made a lot of running on is immigration, and you say you have a common sense policy on immigration. One of the planks of it is to put a border in the Irish Sea for people. Sure. Now, that would presumably require the agreement of the British government and cross-community support in the Assembly. So how practical is it?
Well, first of all, we do have an Irish Sea border now for goods currently because of the whole Brexit situation.
And it's not very popular with unionists.
For sure, and people said it would never happen, and it did happen, OK? And the one thing I will say is that an Irish Sea border is in the benefit of the Dublin government and the London government, because at times there are flows of people through the south of Ireland into the north and into Britain as well. So it has to be said that one of the big problems we have at the moment is that we're not able to control the people coming on to the island of Ireland. Yeah. And as a result,
I understand the problem, but I just want to know how practical it is that you'll actually get agreement on that.
It's not even just practical, it's essential. The government doesn't know when people leave the country or not. And until the day we're able to measure who's coming onto the island of Ireland and who's leaving, we won't be able to manage this situation.
But you're proposing a policy that isn't in your power to deliver.
Well, first of all, we're proposing that the very first instance that the government go to the British government and sit down and try to negotiate a resolution that we believe is in the interests of both countries. But for the government to say that we can't do it without even asking the British government does not make sense. OK, you broke with Sinn Féin over abortion, obviously, as people would know. Is that a red line for you when it comes to government formation? I mean, or do you accept the legal situation as it is at the moment? Well, first of all, we don't want to see a change in the law in terms of the 3-day wait period of time. We would like to see a future government invest money to make sure that mothers have the economic confidence to be able to raise their children, because we know that about 85% of abortions happen because of socio-economic reasons, and some of the pro-choice parties actually implement policies that make women feel that they have no choice. So that's our first objective, make sure that mothers have the economic confidence to be able to raise their children.
But are you looking to roll back the law as it stands at the moment?
Well, we would like to see a big ethical discussion on the issue of disabilities, because right now some of the masters of the maternity hospitals have said that a large number of children with disabilities are not making it to full term in relation to, let's say, Down syndrome. And, we dress up as a country of diversity, but what does it say about us if we get to a situation where up to 95% of children with Down syndrome do not make it to full term?
Your website says people who are pro-life cannot now in conscience support or canvass for Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael, Labour or Sinn Féin. But as I understand it, the only parties you've ruled out for coalition are Fine Gael and the Greens. So you're telling people not to vote or canvass for parties you're prepared to sit at cabinet with.
What we're saying, to be honest, is the best way to protect life is, first of all, to give mothers the opportunity to be able to raise their children. So For example, I mentioned the second rate of child benefits for poor.
But you're prepared to enter a coalition with parties that you are telling people not to canvass for.
If we can get into a situation where we can actually fund families so that they're confident to be able to raise their families, that would be a step forward for us, and we will talk to other political parties in relation to it. Now, I will say this, though, while this issue is an important issue, it hasn't been coming up at the doors. What actually has had resonance for us is obviously the issue of the cost of living crisis, which we've been very strong on, the practical measures that we've brought in terms of the migration system, and obviously the fact that we have been the strongest party in terms of holding the government to account for the fact that they're incinerating so much taxpayers' money. Okay. They're the issues that are coming up at the door.
OK, Peadar Tóibín of Aontú, thank you for joining us on 6-1.
Thank you very much.